Welcome to the Plainfield Conservation Commission meeting minutes, Monday, June 18, 2018 at 7 p.m. I'll start the meeting with a roll call, and myself, Wally Sweener.
Sylvia Wilk.
Doyle. Meeting is now called to order. Appointing alternate members. I'm going to appoint Sylvia at this time for Nick. So now we have a quorum. Okay. Citizen participation. Have that up front. Is there any questions at the moment? We're going to move on to presentation. You might want to hold off till that.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
You can speak up so we
Yeah.
can
Oh,
all
I'm
hear
sorry.
you really
Okay.
nice. And everybody can speak as loud as can.
Okay.
Because it echoes and can't hear the fan especially as well.
But it's okay if we wait for after.
Yes. So we'll move citizen participation to later on. Okay, I'm moving on to the approval of the 5/21/18 meeting minutes. Everybody get a chance to look at them? Any questions, problems, mistakes, any additions? Take a motion to accept the meeting minutes. Everybody's okay with that? Motion?
Yes.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Meeting minutes have been taken care of. Okay, at this time, I have Ryan Snide, President of the Friends of Pachaug Forest. He's going to give us a presentation about the Griswold proposed gun range. Am I correct? And also the group, the Friends of Pachaug group. You can face everybody.
I'm from Ryan Snide. I'm from Friends of Pachaug Forest. Local. I grew up right 2 miles from this proposed gun range. They're pretty much they're pretty set on it. The state police have said that they want it there. Everyone up there respects that, but there's other options a lot cheaper to what I do before. That's what really has us, never mind the noise. The other day, on Wednesday, they did a test fire near my house. I don't want to cry. I said I wasn't going to cry, but I cried that day. It was one of the worst things I had to live through, because I hear gun ranges already. There's the Pachaug, there's Mystic Rod and Gun. We are sandwiched between 2 gun ranges. That is okay. The news is right, and they say it all. I've lived there. They don't shoot near what I heard that day. And it wasn't just 1 gun at a time. We usually hear 1 gun at a time, and that's tolerable. The sanity level would be okay. I'm martial arts trained, and I meditate all throughout the day, and that severely, just that one day. I anticipated it, and I understand that it was kind of built up in my mind, but it severely altered me. I don't know if I can live every day like this, and I will take my entire life and uproot it if that happens. And that's not a plea to anyone. Apparently, I've been told that doesn't really matter, and that's okay. But it does matter. It really does, because I'm not the only one. I have citizens that are really. I'm a mentally stable person, and I've been challenged with this thing. I've been hitting it head on more so than most, and I see people that aren't even challenging it, living lives that they shouldn't be living like this. This is horrible to do to families, horrible to do to everybody that's involved right now. That's ran us to become a passionate 501(c), which we did expedite and everything. I led it. I have 9 people that I've been working with that have been astounding. We've been doing events. We just whipped this thing together like we've been doing it for 20 years. They're amazing. And it's carried me throughout all of this. We've all got together, and I got a list of events I'm going to announce to you people. It's amazing. That is one thing that is holding me through all this, is there's some good at the end of this. We have a killer organization that can really grow if we can keep this out of here. So we made a line item to try and legally fight this thing if we have to. So we're looking for members' help to put on events, or if anything catches your eye, by all means, reach out to us. There's many of us. friendsofpachaugforest.org is our website. It is amazing. We whipped this up. We're only 8 months old. This corporation is 8 months old. I am a self-employed, sole proprietor plumber, and I just whipped this together like it was nothing, and it's been amazing. I'm very proud of us, scared for what could happen. Because really, like Mark there, I've been working with DEP on all this. And one of my board members ran into him that day, because my board members are extremely diehards. And they were running around the forest, taking sound decibels of this gunshot at every place, Mount Misery, Frog Hollow. Frog Hollow Horse Camp was unbearable to humans, never mind the horses that stayed there. That was devastating to me, because that is one of the closest places to my home. It was devastating to me. And everyone said at 2 miles we wouldn't be affected. There's a woman that I know that has cancer that lives within a mile. She's the only one that lives within a mile of this place.
Can I interject?
Oh, hey! It's one of my neighbors, Nick Anderson.
You're talking about the sound, testing?
The firecrackers, yeah.
Yeah, I was there, that was last Thursday? Wednesday, yeah. I live on Cape Downing Road.
Yep.
And I could hear, plainly, like it sounded like it was coming from the Pachaug Outdoor Club.
It was a different direction, me too.
Because it comes right over the top of the hill, it comes down over the top of the hill, so it was.
They were shooting in our direction as well, and they set the boxes up. They sound tested. The point of what they did was they hung boxes in the trees and shot a certain direction, and they're going to use computer-generated sound testing to how it's going to affect wherever they place the range. They're still in that phase of how they're going to put that. Please.
I took an opportunity to go out there this morning and take a look around. And then I actually found footage on YouTube of one of the residents that lives within a mile radius who actually recorded. So I'd actually like to play this. It was really disturbing to see just where they're going to locate it and how close one of the houses is off of Lee Road. I wouldn't want to live there. I would not.
Excuse me, could you state your name?
Naomi Smith.
Okay.
This is one of the sounds. I don't know if you can hear that. That's a mile away from where this is being recorded. That's only 15 troopers, and the man in the video stated there'll be up to 40 per day out there. So the equestrian life will not be out there. It's going to affect it so badly.
We caught them the first day they walked. I live at the end of the road that they come in on, so I see all the traffic.
Well, they must be coming in from Flat Rock.
No, they're coming in from Stone Hill Road. Stone Hill on.
Yeah, well, Stonehill.
Yeah, Stone Hill, I live on the
Yeah. Yeah, that's where we come in from.
Yeah, and this is a beautiful piece. I am a conservationist. I've been there my entire life. This piece of wood, I know it back of my hand. They're gonna quarantine off that wood line. That wood line is all our woods. Like, you're all welcome to go there, and it's amazing. Let me tell you, just go there.
This is
And
the other side.
You won't be able to go there. They have to make a buffer somewhere. We'd be losing our own state border.
One of the things that concerned us today was when we were out there, there were 2 men from Simsbury, Connecticut. They had their motorcycles, they're all registered, they're legal. They actually come to the state forest to ride their motorcycles. It's one of the only areas in Connecticut that they can legally ride. And they were saying that they've signed the petitions, they're against the range going in, because what they call the northern loop is going to be closed off. The motorcycles won't be able to go up in. If the motorcycles can't, the equestrian life can't either. And less than a mile is the rhododendron sanctuaries.
Yeah.
When we were driving up, it's beautiful, and you could hear like the frogs and the birds. And if the range goes in, they'll leave. You won't be able to hear them. It will devastate the wildlife. Even the fields where they're going to put the range in, like the birds, they were flying all in there today. They're not going to do there.
You should have seen, all right, so I'll tell you exactly what happened. I have a plumbing business, and I was working, I didn't even want to work that day once they announced it. What I did is I rushed home, and I have a car that I was working on. I said, I'm going to work on that car, do something for me that day, and just listen, if I can work at home. And I got home at 10 o'clock, and I said, birds are chirping, everything's good. And, just normal commotion around the neighborhood, so I got home and put my truck away, still nothing. So it was about 15 minutes I got into the garage, and I had all my garage doors open. I'm ready to start working on the car, and I hear someone go, with fireworks. And I said, someone's really messing with the cops, because we heard sirens. So I figured, okay, they just drove in, and now someone's lighting off fireworks, someone's gonna get arrested. And all of a sudden I heard, again, I went, oh my God, that can't be it. And then I heard the 1, 2, pop, pop, boom, boom, and I went, oh. And then it just started up again. It would be the military style standoff shooting, it sounded like. It was crazy. I would have never thought it was gonna be that. Then we had a meeting on Sunday and discussed more about it. And I was at half capacity in our map. They're gonna be able to do 30 at the time. They were only 15 troopers there. That was half capacity. That kind of scared me. When I was standing at my garage door, I closed it because I said maybe I could live with it with the door closed. It rang the tin on the door as I stood there behind the door and I started driving.
How far away are you?
I am 2 miles.
2 miles away? Okay.
4 miles it was heard at the Voluntown Sterling Zone.
See, I live on the end of your road, the other end.
On the other end,
And that's another mile, and that's another mile farther away, and I heard.
You're on the same hill, that's why. They're not thinking, they're putting on top of a hill that everybody from here is gonna hear it and below.
Yeah.
You know, where they are now, they're shooting into the bottom of the hill. West Hartford doesn't even hear this. What they're doing right now, they're shooting into the side of a mountain, and it's safe. And they've been doing it forever, and they've been polluting this one area. Now they're gonna go pollute our forest. I just don't agree with it. I really have made this plea to everybody. I hope someone hears it and goes with it. I'm also a trail manager for CFPA. There's a blue trail that runs across this property. I want CFPA to hear from all the citizens that we really need to take eminent domain on this thing as far as that blue trail. No one's moving it. That blue trail's staying. We're gonna build a shelter there. That was our land. We wanted it. We should be making this deal happen. Seal the deal.
That goes right up through, went right through the farmstead.
Yeah, of
Between
course.
the house and the barn.
I'm a trail manager for the Quinnebog Trail, which is another trail below that one, and it goes all the way into Plainfield. Kind of nice. It kind of ties all of it all together, that Pachaug is not just a Griswold issue or a Voluntown issue, it's Plainfield, Sterling, all of us. North Stonington as well, and Preston. So,
So the impact it's going to have on the economic impact on Voluntown and Sterling.
you're losing a plumber, I'll tell you that. No doubt about it, this area is losing a good plumber.
Significant.
Actually, our town too, all the surrounding towns.
Yeah. Good
Could you
citizens.
talk about the scoping meeting that was at Griswold? Maybe just give everybody here an idea what the scoping meeting is about.
Okay, well, the scoping meeting is to educate the citizens about the project and make you come up with your own questions and comments on the idea and voice your concerns so they can remediate them is how they put it, so they can go around it and say, okay, well, you want lead in the soil, well, we'll do testing every year and we'll put these soil testing things in there, we'll test the soil. They have it where they are now. They say they have every 3 years cleaned it, so, we all know what the truth is, but we've done our facts. So I've been doing this fight for 2.5 years, so it's really just going around in circles. They keep saying no, we say yes, they don't know. So we ask the questions and they skirt us for a very long time, and they'll come up with an answer that is very legal, and that they've answered all. I say the biggest thing that we have is they're paying a $1.1 million for a very. It was only his first assessed at 260. They got it up to 400. And all of us know in realty that how you do that. You get it up to as high as you can. Then they're offering, I don't know who does this, but 200 and something% more than what the property is. We're broke. I don't understand why we're doing that, but anyway, the scoping meeting is mainly to educate us and get us to voice those concerns. And then at that point, we take the scoping meeting and you have until the 21st, all of you do, till the 21st to submit your questions, and then they're going to address them within the, before the 1st of January. And then January 19th.
July, you mean?
No, January.
Yeah.
Yeah, this January, they're gonna have another scoping meeting in Griswold. I was kind of disappointed about how many people didn't show up. I wanted that place flooded, we didn't flood it. And it was out there. We had social media and stuff going on, everything, just our organization, never mind the other. And there's multiple organizations fighting this, so, and it's been a battle. But the meeting was when I was there, I went into it very open-minded, and they started right off very cold to me with 4 troopers that had been killed in the line of duty. And it really was dumb to the point where they shouldn't have said that, because those troopers weren't even anything to do with the reason why they have a gun range, first off. So they used them like pawns. But then they haven't had one since 1992. That's pretty darn good, if you ask me. What's wrong with Simsbury? There's nothing wrong with it. So at this point right now, we kind of said that. I thought it was rude that some of the things that we were saying to them, but because they were sitting there taking it and being very professional, but it was like, they would always come back with either that they couldn't answer it, and they'll get it in the EIE at the end, they'll address it, which they have been sending letters. My organization, one of the things we requested was multiple scoping meetings for your town, so everybody gets their voice heard, and everybody's questions. You guys might have a better question than us. You know, let's get everybody's question.
Now, Ryan, can I interject real quick? Now, as far as other towns having a scoping meeting, we submitted a list of 25 signatures, but I have not heard from them.
Well, they did, I was getting to that. With this, they did get back to me, and they
Okay.
sent me one letter
Okay.
stating that it was open to the public, and anyone could have went.
The Griswold meeting you're talking
Yep.
about? Okay.
And they said that that DESPP and DAS felt that that was sufficient.
So they're not going to allow another meeting for any other towns?
They denied us.
Really?
Yes.
So no other, because my
I
understanding
got a
was...
letter, I should have brought it. It's a letter stating that my request for us to have one in Hartford, for all the corporations that have a stakeholding in that forest, should have one in Hartford as well. They
But that's
denied it.
different than a town.
No, they said that all the, I submitted one for your town, I submitted one through my organization, asked that, I had, with the Plainfield one, I did Preston, my organization went around and did all this and fired this whole idea up. So we followed through, we made sure your town leaders followed through, we hit it on every level, so they would do it, and they did.
So they kind of closed the door on the scoping
So is
meeting.
there a reason for that?
Got no reason,
Perhaps.
it was a very skirted answer with this letter, and it was a one little page letter. I should have brought it, I'm so sorry I didn't. It was a GS letter, it's the
Yeah, that's-
GZA is the company that's doing this EIE. The people that got the $700,000 that this cost us.
It seems like they kind of switched things around because in the press, they did release a press statement that the scoping meetings were going to be available to all the towns in the area that wanted to have them, so they've, you know.
I hope they do. I hope they make this a little bit longer of a process than they thought it was gonna take. 'Cause skirting it right to the end of January, I thought was a little fast myself. This should take years if you're gonna do this, but I don't think it should ever.
Does the scoping meetings go through the DAS?
No, they didn't show up.
Well,
We thought that was.
who
unprofessional.
administers the scoping
They
meeting?
do. They administer it through, yeah, a consulting company actually performs it, and they brought the troopers in. There was some like lined up, and some just imagine for security or whatever, but there was actual uniformed guys, lieutenants and such that did the current range, and they also had, a gentleman there that was a lieutenant, and he was like a representative for the whole project through DAS. Very professional, nice people. They've been to our homes. They've been to a few, like Renee, the one that's within 1 mile. She has a home. She's been very passionate in this fight. And she actually did have him come to her house and sit down, and he said that he saw the hummingbirds and saw all the birds, and, you know, still it wasn't enough to move him.
When you submit the application, you know, like the request for a scoping, who did it go to?
Stephen Lecco is the man that is taking all the EIE scoping
So
stuff.
he works for,
He sent me a letter back. He's the gentleman that's in the back.
what department does he work for?
He does not work for a department. He works for a private agency, GZA.
Oh, so they hired a private
He's a
contractor.
consultant, yep.
They kind of hired a private
Yeah,
contractor to deal with the
$700,000
scoping.
it cost, yep.
Okay.
So they don't have to go through state protocol then?
Yeah, they do. They're overseen. Oh, yeah. I know
Then-
somebody should be, I mean, this project's gotten way too far. I mean, there's been rules. We've caught every rule, and we're documenting it. So they got, like I told them in the meeting, at the school meeting, my presentation was mental health of the people around. They're messing everybody up, and I'm going home. I'm watching this stuff. I mean, if I was a cop, I would have done stuff already, because these people are getting crazy. You know? I mean, this is not...
Who makes the final decision?
We are so hoping in a new governor.
Is it the governor?
Yeah, any governor can stop this project. I personally snuck into a breakfast with the governor, answered the question, and they tried to ask him why he would try and put if he's so boasting tourism, because that's what he was doing
Yeah.
at a Chamber of Commerce meeting. And I said to him, you know, if you're so into boasting tourism, why are you trying to put a gun range in the middle of the only tourism my area has? And it's the most prominent, Chapman Field, Mount Misery, those are all key areas here that drive campers to this area. And Green Falls, I mean, if they heard it there, that's devastating to us. But it's just,
What did he say?
Did he answer?
Did he answer you?
No, he said, I'm sorry, I take no partaking in that decision-making process. And then they told me to sit down. I said to him, but, and then the guy said, sit down, this is not an argument. I was like, oh, good, and I sat down. Because there was like 300 people.
I just don't understand, if we can put a man on the moon, we can do all kinds of different things, we cannot fix this problem that they have over there.
I know, I've been so passionately fighting this. There's days when I want to get enraged and I just sit there and peacefully think.
They haven't had a guardrail.
Are you talking about flooding? What's weird is that the selectman of Allentown, Tracy, this morning, she gave me this on the council of, their council on environmental.
I'm going there Wednesday. I'll be presenting.
They actually state that the towns are supposed to be allowed to have a scoping meeting with the 25.
Right.
That's where we got the,
I read that too.
This research, these guys, I'm telling you, people I work with are amazing.
Right.
Well, it seems to me that whoever's administering this has got some...
Breaking protocol.
They're switching things around.
But this is the one we're really gonna, we're gonna expose it, but then all the other ones are gonna come up now, because they've been breaking rules from the very get-go to make this get to here. And I think it was all over the $700,000, I really do. Whoever was in this EIE thing is where it's coming from. It's only gonna make sense to me.
Well, the DAS is
This
the ones
doesn't make
that
sense.
ultimately, they're the ones that set the scoping meeting.
Why would the commissioner of DEP say yes to this? I mean, we had a bill going through, 5304, was gonna make it go back to the decision-making process with a third-party organization, not DAS or DSPP, that's the organization that wants it, but let's have a third-party look at it, it's important. And they kind of shot it down. They let it die, and what they call die in the house. That stuff's pretty complicated when you get there. I spent 3 days there, she was impressive.
From Stone Hill to Four Corners where Hell's Hollow comes in, it was 3/10 of a mile into that property range by vehicle. There's 4 beautiful houses in there, right? And we trailed that all the way back down to Mount Misery. And I only put 3 8/10 miles on my truck. And that's by trail,
I said that to Joe, I thought I was closer than a mile than that.
All straight line, right, yeah,
It feels it, but they say, yeah, it takes 2 miles of the bird flight, but I don't know. It was awful loud. When
No,
the garage
that-
door closes and it's going, ding, ding, ding. I was
No.
like, you're kidding me. I held the door and it stopped. It's rattling. That's no good. I can't.
And now, did they use target shots up in there?
No, we have, our first selectman got a copy of each round to have them analyzed. Take it apart, make sure they weren't light rounds. They weren't light rounds. I'll tell you that. They weren't light rounds. They could have made that quieter for sure.
I mean, I hunt, and you don't take out skeet shooting.
No.
You don't use a 2 3/4 inch.
No, but they were
Magnum
using,
load.
they were using high power and shotguns.
Yes.
And mainly their pistols, but that was not enough. The rifles didn't shoot as much. But it was, the pistols were loud enough.
Well, rifles ain't allowed in the state laws.
Oh, they are there, they're clearing all that.
Yeah, well, they're,
Hey, excuse me, Ryan, I gotta pull this in a little bit.
Yep, sorry.
Tighter here because we're getting off track here. Nick has a question.
I was at the hearing in Hartford, you were at, and you have an attorney, the Save Pachaug Forest Group has an attorney, right? No? Is that the keep
Pam, I
people quiet?
don't think she has, keep yours quiet. Pam doesn't have an attorney yet. She
Okay.
talks with an attorney. That's how
Okay,
it goes.
there was a guy there that was speaking on behalf of them at that hearing.
St. Patrick Forest? No, that was on behalf of our town. The Todd Babbitt gave up his town for the day we went for the 434.
The day we went to this, for the hearing.
Yeah, we all went to bus?
Yep.
Yeah, that was the town had a lawyer do it.
So who is he?
Pam Padalano is the,
Yeah.
the chair of,
But who is that attorney attached to?
the town of Griswold.
Town of Griswold.
He was the representative for that art.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was wondering about that, because just,
We,
at this point in time, it seems like, protests?
At this point, what I said to them was they're gonna buy the land for more than it's worth. There's a case, we don't really have much of a case. They're proposing a project. So, like I said earlier, maybe we're kind of eager. The state is kind of slow. They're just trying to feel us out in a funny way. I mean, they can try and swipe it in, but there's no way they're gonna build this without there being some sort of additional. DEP goes through and says, oh yeah, go ahead and do it. That'd be some corruption there. We gotta find it. I mean, we're gonna find it. We're gonna get a lawyer at that point. It's under agreement. So if they don't want to sign that agreement or they break out of the agreement, they don't want to get in trouble.
How do the people feel that sold this property?
Yeah, I'm not finished. Ryan, the point I was trying to make is that it's obvious that the state DAS people and the state police are not going to listen to it. We've been protesting and speaking out. It's obvious how everybody feels about that. I mean, the majority of the people. So that's not going to have any effect, I don't think, on the outcome at this point without having some kind of legal leverage in some way, shape, or form.
Well, what we did this Sunday was we made a line item in our budget. I have, like I said, the Friends of Pachaug Forest are 501(c), so we made a line item in our budget so we can offer to people that we have a legal line that you would donate to us. We're going to get a lawyer and try and stop this for the people. There's no doubt about it. We're going to try.
Well,
how yet is up to the lawyer.
Yeah,
We
right.
don't. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to know. I know how to fundraise stuff, so I can do that. Our organization.
Virginia,
How did the other towns that where it was supposed to go, how did they fight it? I mean, it was supposed to go, I forgot.
Yeah, that
To
one time.
Willington.
Well, I have done a lot of homework. I've been fighting this for 2.5 years, and
it wasn't that one town, wasn't it Millington or?
Willington.
They had an attorney.
Willington, and they got an attorney, but that's because they had other things. There was a lot of other environmental, and that's not really where they wanted it. They had this in their minds from the get-go. They narrowed it down to 7 at that point.
Yeah.
But when you listened to the scoping meeting, they went through 4,000 properties. How long that would have took, I have no clue. But I mean, 4,000 properties down to the 7. When it made it in the news, they were talking about we were down to 7. Willington's one. Oh no, not Willington. Oh, we're in Griswold now. They looked at 2 in Voluntown that were so fast. It was like they did it in a day.
And this is private land?
Yep, they were
It's
specifically
owned
going
by
for private.
Louis Button Jr., the son of Louis Button Jr., who was the brother to Arvin Button, whose son owns the Button Farms.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
that land's been in that family since the early 50s.
They're the reason that family's the reason why our town has self-proclaimed ourselves the sunflower capital of
Yeah,
the world.
yeah.
If they need this place so bad, but they already have a gun range, what is wrong with what they already have?
It's flooded in 2009, 11, and 13. They said it damaged everything. They lost a lot of ammo. They have to use mobile stations to train them in, like trailers that they have like simulator and stuff and desk space. So when it's going to be flood season, they move them.
Where
right
is
now.
that located?
And there's no bathrooms. That's the big thing. They have no bathrooms.
But that could easily be.
Simsbury.
To them, they said it cannot be corrected.
And where is the present gun range?
In Simsbury, at the base of that Avon Mountain. It shoots against the base.
But the weird thing is that they do have other locations they
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
to. There are
They-
other towns that want them, and Joe Courtney,
Right.
along with Heather Sumner, actually got the fees waived at the National Guard facility.
East Haven.
Yeah, so that they could go in and use
Right.
that. So there are other locations that would be more cost-effective to the taxpayers than
And
1.1 million, then another 30 million for the facility.
That facility in East Haven is rated for federal, armed forces. And it's only used, I think the National Guard only uses about 50 or not even
In
40.
comparison, that
So
range
they expressed willingness to work with the state of Connecticut to, facilitate them so that it would work out, so that the state could use it.
I mean, I looked at just going in there today on where Lee Road goes in. I mean, you're talking, it's dirt road. The potholes are huge. I mean, we had to literally drive up on the embankment.
Yeah, well,
What's the cost to our cruisers gonna be? How much cost to get that road up to par to fix it for them? It's gonna be a very
That's a
expensive
tip of the
project.
iceberg. Because the facility's almost on the Rhode Island line, and the state troopers from Danbury are gonna be traveling all the way across the state to use this.
Right.
So it makes no fiscal
Yeah,
sense.
right. On our time.
May I chime in on that? I was at a lot of these legislative events, like 4 times this year, and it was kind of exciting with me. I met a lot of cool people. But their budget is outlandish. They were, at the time, we weren't even halfway through the first session now. They were already over their overtime budget, and they asked what they were going to do for it. They didn't have an answer, what they were going to do about that. They also asked a very strategic question. I just want to leave this with you guys, that they have a very low number of troopers as far as standing. Usually like 1,200. They're down to 950. And the scary part is in the next 4 years, they're slated to have 500 retire. 400 retire. So that's kind of scary.
I have a question. Does Simsbury have the land to expand?
No.
No, so they have to use what's already there?
Yep.
I mean, they really are in need of
It did occur to me, though, that, because of the importance of this project, that there could be some flooding remediation done there to, if they were willing to work with the Army Corps of Engineers and, you know what I mean, that things can be done to remediate flooding.
They said that to me, and I said, I'm a contractor, you can fix anything.
But if they're using that as a good excuse not to.
It's not a good one, but it's.
Well, I'm sure Simsbury has more, money in to fight this than we do out here.
Well, that's a whole nother thing. It's like they're here because they know that
Right.
we don't have the money. If they were going to put it in Stafford, west of the Connecticut River, they wouldn't even try to do it.
Right, right.
So we're victims. We're being victims of that.
So where are we now at this point as far as,
We're in the scoping, the first stage.
we're still in the scoping
Second stage, yeah.
window, if you will,
Yep.
until June
Till
21st?
January of 19. So January 1st of 19 is when they're supposed to be done with the EIE unless they do like an extension.
But I'm talking about the scoping meetings, and there's a deadline, isn't it
It's already
June?
done.
Isn't it June 21st to submit any kind
Oh,
of?
yes, I'm sorry, yes, the
Comments?
to submit your,
That's-
your questions, your comments.
That's
your-
this week, so.
That's for
Yeah,
just
Thursday.
your scoping meeting, right? Or
That
just-
was, well, that's
That's
our
for
only
all
one.
scoping-
So
that's for all
this
scoping
is it,
meetings,
yeah.
right?
You have to have it submitted by Thursday.
Right.
Yes, if you have to go online, GZA, if you go on to type Connecticut State Police gun range scoping in Google, it'll come up, I promise you.
So that's where we're at right now, right?
I have it. Tracy
I brought
gave it to
this to tell you
me.
that.
Tracy gave it to me.
Who has a question?
Yeah,
You have a question? Can you state your name?
Jack Dow,
Okay.
Austin Gold. American Standard right over here had wetlands, and we had problems with that. And they figured out a way to divert the water, right? And so they could do it. So this little flood that they had up there for 3 years, that ain't nothing compared to what American Standard has. This has running water up there all year long. And they're diverting it into,
Right.
what did they call them?
Holding tanks.
Yeah, well, something, yeah,
Underground.
yeah, it's a big, yeah.
The Army Corps of Engineers usually got involved in wetland remediation and stuff.
Oh, I don't know if they are, I mean, I'm sure that that could be rectified for the money they're spending up there.
It would seem so, if they wanted to do that.
So, Ryan, so that's where we're at right now, the scoping process, and the surrounding towns won't have a deadline, June 21st,
Yeah,
to either
any person, any resident.
submit names, or you can do it online, you can send a letter,
Oh, you said email, yep.
emails, right?
Email. And I'm actually attaching, I typed it in Word, you can attach Word documents, they take it all, and they have to respond to us.
So after that date, though, what happens now? Is that the end of it?
They have until January 1 to answer back, and then they're gonna, at
Oh,
that
okay,
point,
so-
set another meeting
Okay.
with our town, and have another meeting stating, here's how we're addressing it, we're going forward with this way.
So they have 6 months to respond to the scoping questions.
Yep.
Okay, so it would behoove anybody or any town to get your questions in now, before the 21st.
Yep.
Okay.
Otherwise, you may not get it.
Any other questions? Anybody have any other questions?
So that's what you need the residents or us to go and do stuff? Is that what you need the residents to do, to spend it by the
Any
21st?
citizen, any American citizen, actually, it's any person in the world can ask right now, and you have by the 21st.
So is there something like on the Facebook pages and that?
Okay, so yeah, I would, like I said, go to Google, you type in the Connecticut State Police Gun Range Scoping Meeting or Scoping, it'll come up. It's,
So you're gonna put that
sends you to that website, it has a link right to the facility.
Naomi's gonna put it for the residents to see, so.
Wally, is it possible for like, is it possible for like the town of Plainfield come up with a good letter to send to these people in regards to,
Good idea.
it's not going to only affect Griswold, it's going to affect
Right.
our property. I mean, as a
That would be,
as a
Very
town
good
of
idea.
Plainfield's
Letterhead tonight.
that would be good.
as well as individuals.
Overnight it.
Hopefully, maybe our commission could do something like that with, in conjunction
Yes.
with maybe the Ag Commission or the
Selectmen.
all the select women.
Yeah.
Women
Yeah, definitely.
to jump on board with it.
Yes.
I also think it's not going to end with just the state of Connecticut using this gun range. I think you're going to end up with Rhode Island and possibly Massachusetts.
And probably maybe a more federal and
Yeah. I
who knows
think so.
what.
It might open the door to
There's
something.
something else buried there or something.
Yeah, and
That's how we've done it, we've actually come up with like 100 and something questions, and we did it in categories, and traffic was one of them.
So definitely.
Was it checked on as far as the federal level with them being able to do this and then close off like the northern loop and stuff?
Yeah, all the organizations are firing up and trying, but the state has said that the state supersedes town, and everyone's trying to attack it with this, federal level, and they're saying it doesn't matter,
My daughter goes to college up in Maine, and she was going to email her professor tonight, because she was very concerned about this when she came home and found out, and because she does environmental studies for school. And she was saying that they actually found a problem with having something similar to this in Yellowstone National Park, where having gun ranges too close to conservation areas actually can create crime rates to go up in the areas. So in National Stone Yellow Park, they will not allow any kind of gun range facilities near their location because, like she said, okay, you're only allowed to hunt in the state forest certain times of the year. This gun range, they're going to be shooting every day. So how are you going to prevent noise from poaching? You're not going to have any awareness. The neighbors that normally might hear that and be like, wait, there shouldn't be any shooting right now. They're going to become immune to it.
Right.
That's a
And
good
like
point.
and like she said, with the youth camps nearby, with the violence we have going on now, she said it can create a very big risk to the people in the forest. That's where the crime can come in. She's like, you think because the state police force is going to be in there, it deters crime? She's like, in fact, they did studies and it shows it increased
I
crime.
mean, like
I've been
rates and
seeing
that.
Yes.
people-
Yeah, because you can't hear.
What is it gonna do to our farmers, to our dairy farmers in this area?
You got another question?
Just have one more question. Would the military base in Groton be coming up to use this at all?
I have no idea.
It's primarily for safety.
I was just curious, because you said like Rhode Island, Mass, I'm just curious if maybe they're looking because I don't know if they have a shooting range down there at all. I know it's subs and that, but I don't know where they shoot down at the base. So I'm wondering if maybe that's why they wanted this at the state, maybe they're gonna have some kind of agreement with the base or something.
The interesting thing I want to note on that,
No, but that's a good point.
Rhode Island actually goes to New Hampshire to train. So, I'm just putting that out there. Rhode Island actually based out of theirs go to New Hampshire, so you can guarantee they build that Rhode Island's coming. Guarantee.
Yeah.
And the other thing is their timelines, like 8 and 9 in the morning till 9 at night. Yeah,
They said they would
5 or
need
6 days a week.
And then retired, at the current range, retired and past police officers have key to this place, and they can go and shoot on weekends. Go there on Sunday. Go to Simsbury Range on Sunday when they're not supposed to shoot, just watch stuff. Off duty people shoot. I would not want to live next to that either, all weekend long, because they're, you got a range to go to.
Well, the gentleman that was in there today with the motocross, his mother actually does live within a couple miles of the Simsbury facility, and he said that she does not want to be there. Like, she's tried selling her house and she can't, and they can't go outside and enjoy the yard because of the sound.
That's going to be another issue if you try and.
They built the
sell your
houses around
house.
that one.
Yeah.
They built those houses there. That range was there first.
Well, I think we can all kind of agree that it's gonna impact the quality of life in this area much more than we want to see happen.
So now, Ryan, the surrounding towns, if we write a letter for Plainfield now, what about Voluntown and all?
Oh, Tracy's been
Have they done
screaming.
that yet? Has
Who?
Voluntown, have they submitted?
Oh, yeah, Tracy's been screaming out loud. She was at the train,
So
she was at the shooting.
So our town is probably one of the last towns to submit something formal.
Preston is too.
Preston too? So-
Yeah, Preston
we need
actually, I
to
believe
do
the first
that.
selectman's not, he's not even gonna get involved because I believe he's on his way out. I think his name's Bob Congan.
So we need some words and some kind of format to follow to submit this letter before the 21st.
Yes,
Could you help us with that between now and then?
absolutely.
And then that way there we can get it done because,
Okay.
I mean,
You have to overnight it or something.
you'd have to, you know, I mean,
Oh, it's an email, so you just email, you
You
email.
can
it.
email
Oh,
it,
yeah,
right?
you do it almost
Okay.
instantly.
so
Is
could
there a
you?
same letter that the residents would send as well? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, you can. The residents can send one too.
Yeah, if you.
Okay.
if-
But we're talking about the town, the formally send.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure. That's what I was-
Yeah, I
make
believe
sure
the
it
town
wasn't,
should,
like,
I believe the
waiting for it.
town should do their own, I mean, amongst the town leaders, maybe if each select woman or man wants to write their own, that would show the socio-economic impact. This is
Yeah,
already.
the town would have more,
Oh, absolutely, then us.
more
doing-
bearing on.
Well,
on the whole
this is
thing.
not the place, we already had our chance to do like the mass email, like you're saying, like I would just have our organization write you up something that you would fill in. We did that. You just fill in your name and it kind of, you can have a place to put in your little comments and then sincerely it's directed and you just press the go button and it goes.
Yeah.
We did that. This is more for your personal concerns, you know?
Right,
If
so
you
we'd
have
have
an
to-
idea, just voice it, even if it's just a quick question, they have to answer that question. And, you know, how they're going to make this right. I don't understand how they're gonna stop some of these questions.
Maybe we can just,
Because we only have 3 days to do this. And, you know, normally something like this, you'd form a committee and you get a think tank together and then you'd come up with something at a meeting. And I don't know if we
There's
have.
so many things, we did this, there's 100 and some things we wanna talk about, you can't, I mean, everyone submitted all these multiple questions.
Just put your top.
let's just try to
Questions,
get
okay,
some volunteers
okay.
and meet with the selectmen at their convenience. I'm available sometime.
You want to make a motion to do that?
Yeah, I make a motion that the Conservation Commission try to come up with some personal time to spend with the select women to try to draft a letter, you know, at their convenience.
Second? Second. All in favor? Aye. So that's what we'll do. The Conservation Commission will get together at the most next convenient time, which would be either tomorrow or, is it, today's the 18th, 19th, 20th. We've got two days really to do it. So,
I guess it's up, do you have time to, during the day, so you have a little time?
do you guys have time during the day? Because I work during the day.
I could work with Sylvia on it.
You guys want to do that? You wanna-
Tomorrow, I'll be in the works.
Yeah, all right, how about
Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Wednesday afternoon. Should only take about an hour.
Let me just think, I got to bale some hay on Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday morning. Sometime before noon on Wednesday, how about
You
that?
can do it before noon.
Oh.
How about after 6?
Yeah, well,
Just an hour.
Wednesday after 6? I can be there.
I can't do Wednesday night.
Okay.
All right,
All right, then, looks like Sylvia and I will
Yeah.
draft something on Wednesday,
Yeah.
and on Thursday, maybe you can give it to the select women
well,
for their review,
Maybe we'll have some input on
and
it.
then whatever input,
Shoot out then.
whatever the input that they would have, and then do a final, and then we can send it off. That'd be all right? All right.
The important thing I would make sure that you mention is all the things that were affected, that your group had been affected by. He heard it. Make sure you mention that in there, that we heard your test too.
Yep.
You know, those are important things to know, the things that the townspeople have already been affected by, I find is powerful in this, because it's not even built yet.
I was at the scoping meeting, and I have notes that I took at the scoping meeting, who was there, what people said. So I have sort of a rough draft right here.
Good.
So I think maybe between this and
Yeah.
anybody
You're
else,
better than I can do that.
if anybody else wants to.
Well, you can mention, yeah, well, I'll.
And Ryan,
about the
you and I
sound.
could always hook up and talk, and I could get full of
Probably,
from
yeah,
Clark.
definitely.
It's just because you could, because I take it very lightly, because I have to make the band.
Okay, I think that's the plan, and that's all we have as far as, you know, where we're at this
I really
point in
The only
time.
thing that concerns me, Wally, like I said, I think you're cutting it close by you doing it Wednesday.
Yeah.
There's 3 of us that would have to look at it Thursday.
Right.
And Thursday is the deadline, so I don't like cutting things that close.
Yeah, that's real close, I know,
I mean, if that's the only time you
tomorrow?
can do it,
unless we,
okay,
Wednesday.
but
Is tomorrow Tuesday?
tomorrow's Tuesday.
I could do tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night?
Yeah, tomorrow's Tuesday night. Yeah, Wednesday night, I'm committed.
Can you do
Wednesday.
tomorrow night? Well, I could do tomorrow night.
All right.
That's okay, you kicked me out of it.
you can email them the other thing too. is
That's a good point, though.
You can each put your points together
Right?
Yeah.
and then email them to each other.
Yeah.
Because it is such short notice.
It is real short, that's the only,
Brian, do you have like a
problem.
collection of points already, like, you know, you must?
You guys got it, man?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can email me the information, I'll forward it to Wally or you.
Okay,
Go
yeah.
for it.
Yeah, it's mdoyle1@gmail.com.
That would be really helpful, that way
Yeah.
there we'll have a format, and it'll speed it up, and that way we can get it, we can get it done in time, hopefully, for all the select ladies to
You
review.
got a phone number too, just in case.
Yeah, it's 860-771-9642.
No, we're all going to call you.
Thank you. Just in case I have
Okay.
Yeah, except you.
I'll text you.
That's all right.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So at least we'll have a voice, I think, as it stands right now, so it's up to us to, you know, to get that to the selectwomen's office, and that's the plan, and
I can't thank you guys enough, you guys are awesome, thank you.
and that's what we'll do. Okay. Any other questions? Because I have to move on, I have some other things on my agenda. All set? Thank you, Ryan. Okay. Solar energy opportunities for Plainfield. Okay. Recently, the Board of Selectmen had a meeting on June 11th, and we discussed that, right? It was, and Paul Michaud was here.
So I have some concerns I'd like to address
Sure, would you want to come up?
about the solar. So at our meeting on June 11th, we had addressed with the Board of Selectmen and approved to move forward with the solar project. There are no contracts. One of my main concerns is there's a lot of ignorance on Facebook about the meeting and what went on. So for us, as the Board of Selectmen, for Wally, for Nick, the Board of Ed had appointed a person to be on the committee to be involved in all this solar. My understanding is at the Board of Ed meeting on June 13th, which I had a meeting with the superintendent that morning, previous morning, it seems that at the Board of Education meeting, nobody knew what was going on about this solar project. So a lot of ignorant comments got made on Facebook regarding the selectmen, the solar company, not telling the truth. Wally was involved, Nick was involved, Ron Lucia, who was the representative from the school, was involved. He actually did the walkthrough through the school buildings with the solar companies before the bids came in. So for people to make comments and be ignorant about it, when you sit at a meeting, get your facts before you put stuff out there to the public. Because it makes our project that we've worked very hard and diligent on to make sure everybody's getting the correct information to now not get the correct information. So to get to the Board of Ed,
I am on their agenda for the next meeting to address the Board of Ed, to let them know what happened, that the communication did not stop here. The communication stopped within who they designated to be the person to get this information to the Board of Ed. So just to make that very clear, the selectmen, the Conservation Committee, nobody's in cahoots with the solar companies. The reason why we handled it this way, we had 10 solar companies put bids. I'm not a solar expert.
I'm not even.
Wally and Nick are not solar experts. We went to the experts to bring the best information to the town of Plainfield. So I'm very concerned about what goes on and what gets put on Facebook. I'm just saying, you got comments to put on Facebook, get the facts. Thank you.
We didn't see those comments on Facebook. The information at the Board of Ed meeting, Lucier was at that meeting, and when people said stuff, he never spoke up and said a word to anybody.
Okay, but the thing is, Laura, when you're at a meeting and you see that, and you've been at meetings, sat in solar meetings with us, question them.
I
Don't
tried.
automatically
I
put
tried.
speak
But
there,
they let
and
us.
I'm not bringing it up.
You can ask the chair of the board.
You
I
are allowed to
asked.
You
speak.
should not have posted what you posted on Facebook, because that makes the town people
Then
have
the board
doubt.
should be working together.
The
Why wasn't
Board of Ed had a
the chair
representative
sat there along with the superintendent and stated that they had only been contacted that morning, and that's what I stated on Facebook.
No, that's not. I have it printed out what you.
I have it what I wrote too.
On Facebook. So I'm just saying, I'm not here to have a fight. Get the facts, because we've worked very diligently to get this project to save the townspeople money. And I feel like the lack of the communication between the Board of Ed and the superintendent has put a wedge between them.
Well,
So
it's-
I will be at their Board of Ed meeting to address the Board of Education.
Yeah, because they're the ones that brought up about the miscommunication. No
Mr.
public even
Selectman.
spoke about the solar energy there,
May I speak?
You sure can.
Okay.
and I didn't see anything.
You said that this would help our children in the school for better things and comments.
And Mr. Lucia sat at my conference table with Wally, Nick, myself, Kyle Collins, a representative from Eversource, Adam, Chris?
Alan and Chris.
Alan, Chris, and Paul Machad. What a great
And they
idea that
said
is.
right in this meeting that, the school board, right, that they didn't know nothing about it.
Exactly, and
He
he
And
said
now
he
I've got
was
this
never
on tape.
invited for a walk tour. That's what he told Board
and
of
he never
Education.
spoke up to
that-
anybody.
We had that, we had that meeting on video.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
should, because he didn't
Board of
speak up.
Ed members.
He didn't speak up for anybody, he never said he was at the meetings, and then towards the end, he said something, yeah, well, I was at those meetings, but when everybody on his board was saying something, he never spoke up and said he was at one of those meetings.
And I did try to address
But
that.
I did not address what people put on Facebook. My concern is, you've heard that, you've asked me twice, Naomi, if you could come to my office and discuss Northeast Transit. I
Do you-
said my door is open.
Do you know how
Pick up the
angry I
phone
was?
and
You
call.
can even ask Virginia, after the solar meeting, I spoke to her right outside and said I was in support of the project because of the children. When I stood there Wednesday night and heard the board, I'm like, what do you mean they don't know? It felt like a gut kick to the citizens. That's how it felt.
Well, I'm sure Wally,
I wasn't
Nick?
there, so I don't know what happened.
The public didn't
It's all
speak
his-
about it at all at the Board of
We
Ed.
couldn't.
Right, they would, yeah.
We didn't get there to 10 after because of the
well,
other
I will
meeting.
be at the next Board of Ed meeting, and
I have
will
one more
speak.
question for you. Who's gonna pay for all the safety equipment for these kids to be on that job?
So it's not a job, Jack, from what they explained to me. So you're gonna have a board, is how it was explained to me. It's almost gonna be like a big computer board, and you're gonna be able to monitor the solar, like how much.
Yeah, it's just a TV screen with charts in that.
So that's how they're gonna learn. They're not gonna be out in the field doing solar.
Yeah, no, it's
Okay,
just a
well, that's
TV
what I
screen.
mean.
No.
Well, what happens if one of these children say, I gotta take a walk out on the construction?
No, no,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Yeah, that
Excuse me, that guy wasn't gonna fall through the roof and get killed over at Market Standard
And that was one of the questions that the superintendent did ask them, was how were they gonna safeguard the children? If there were canopies, or if they were up on the roof, how was it gonna affect the classroom time? So those were questions that the Board of Ed were proposing to the companies.
Right.
When they're installing the panels, correct?
Correct.
Is that what you
Or
meant?
even if they were, even, because he said, well, we're not sure even what you're putting on the facility, so if they're like our canopies, or they're gonna be in like the parking lot, how are we gonna fence off, safeguard? This is what I'm trying to tell, like, they acted completely oblivious, so it was very much,
Even
felt like
the
we had been
teacher did.
completely, like, misrepresented by everything.
Well, I'm gonna make a comment.
Well, one other thing, they were trying to make sure the first selectman's office look bad.
Yes, they
Excuse
all.
me now.
Okay?
I gotta bring this in a little bit closer to the end. Paul Pachaug and his two technicians, they've been doing this for quite some time now. They have a lot of experience, and we are relying on them with their experience. And I wouldn't think that they would come to a town and try to do something that wasn't safe, or the most bang for the buck, if you will. So, that being said, we are relying on them, and as things progress, if there's any problems, we'll have to address those problems. But right now, I mean, that's where we're at right now. We want to do...
Intelligent bunch of people on the board that have really looked into this. Kyle Collins has
Yeah.
really researched this a lot. I mean, this isn't fly by his pants kind of
No,
operation.
no.
There's a lot to it.
This person that we're using as he's like a go-between between the companies and the town, Paul Michaud, and he's got a very good track record as far as projects that have been completed with no hiccups and no problems. So, you know, we wouldn't have gone this route if we didn't feel confident he was, he's going to get it done properly.
And just to add to that, if you recall, Voluntown had come up, what had